Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Hola.
So today's going to be, our overtime today is going to be a little bit of an intervention for Janelle.
Okay.
And maybe you guys too, I don't know.
Okay.
A little bit of an intervention. Now don't worry, she's not addicted to drugs at the moment
No,
that we're aware of.
I am not. Except for my coffee, but that doesn't count.
Well, it's a substance. So a lot of people, when you ask them how they're doing, 95% of people,
Oh,
see if how you
that's
feel
where
about
you're
this,
going. Oh, goodness.
will answer with some version of busy, good but busy, crazy busy. I'll say, so Brian, how you doing? I'm good. Busy,
Yeah.
good. You guys say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
Yes,
so much
in fact,
anymore.
I had a friend tell me, she has 6 kids now, too. And we found ourselves always saying, oh, busy, busy. And then she was like, you know what? I don't think it's like a busy season anymore. I think our life is just busy. So we need to stop saying.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of kids, Brian.
Yeah, here we go. She's looking for excuses. So busy has become a badge of honor, a signifier of success, a humble brag that implies we're important and in demand.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you really are too busy, chances are that you're not doing this one thing enough. Saying no.
That's right. Oh,
No.
nice.
Oh.
Nice.
I had to hide the article, otherwise it's like super visible. So, you struggle saying no, Janelle?
Can I just say before I go there?
Here we go.
No, this is good.
Give an excuse. Go ahead.
This is TT. She said, I just want to say I love when Janelle says, I love. I just wanted to go. She said that on live. Hi, TT. Do I struggle with saying no? Yes. But it's not because I want
Well, you just
to.
said yes, though. Good job.
It's not because I want to be busy. Part of it is the struggle of not wanting to be mean and wanting to be helpful, and it's part of that. That's the main struggle.
You don't want to be mean, so you say yes to
I don't want to be mean. And so what I've been told in the past and what I've read is, and I think it's Covey, where he's like, it's easier to say no when you have a big yes. And so my big yes
What
now.
is that? That sounds
So
like the
that
self-help.
makes
What does
a
that
lot
mean?
of sense.
What does that mean?
My big yes, like my priority has always been my family, ministering to my kids, being available for my husband. So if I'm busy trying to please somebody, let's say at church with a volunteer thing, we've said this. Whenever you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Right.
And so I've tried to say, okay, who am I saying no to? Is it less time with the kids, less time in quiet time that I'll have? But when I'm not mindful, I do find myself, and then, no. The worst is the little things. When it's little commitments, it's like, okay, fine, it's not a big deal. Then you look and you find yourself like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of little things I've said no to. The big ones are easier for me.
Janelle, can you pass me that Ziploc bag there?
No.
Nicely done! Nicely done. Can I have $1?
$1. I don't got $1.
$20? Can I have
Oh
20?
gosh. You don't struggle with this? Have you struggled with this?
I have in the past.
Why did you struggle with saying no?
I think because one, you want to have make a good impression on people, and so you feel like somebody from church asks you to do something. Yeah, I could do that. I can help out. And some because it's in my nature to be a helpful person. But one of the things that really has made it easy is by working overnight into the morning. I sleep in the daytime when most people want to ask you to do something. So it's kind of like by nature, sorry.
Not available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
That's helped for me with our early schedule here, where I go to bed early. So someone, hey Brian, we're going to start the Bible study at 7. You going to be there? Nope.
Yeah.
No. No. But see, this is where it's really hard, is when people ask you to do something for church, for ministry.
Right.
That's where it's hard to say no, don't you think? Because don't you love Jesus, Janelle? Don't you want to know him more? Don't you want to serve him?
Yeah. I've actually recently, because I work now, have had to say no and have found it less difficult. Len nails it. And he has said no. And his thing is, and maybe as a dad you can sympathize, when you're already battling for your schedule, it's like easier for him to be like, I can barely do what I'm supposed to be doing, whatever it is. But then there's the struggle because he's also said, man, when do I know when I'm actually not being faithful? Like if it's, so you got to seek the Lord, because sometimes, yeah, you may not have time, or yeah, it may be hard, but maybe it's a season where the Lord's telling you, okay, that means you need to step it up. That means you need to be more faithful with the less time that you have, because it is something I'm calling you to. Do you agree? Or how do you identify when it's like, no, this is something?
For me, it's a discernment issue that I usually work with my wife on, but I mean, I don't want to make a major commitment at church unless it's really going to fit in my family and I can follow through.
Yeah.
But I've never really struggled that much saying no.
You haven't?
See, I'm in the same boat as you, because when it comes to committing to something, unless I'm fully committed, I don't want to do it. So, if anything, I feel like if I'm not going to fully commit to something, I'm actually hurting that ministry, or I'm hurting that person.
Yeah. Yeah, I was asked to be a deacon at a church once, and I was like, you know what? Number one, it's not in my gifts. Number two, it's just not a good fit for my family right now. I'm sorry, no. There's a lot of people that have an easy time saying no to serving at church, I'll tell you that. Because there's still a lot of people that don't serve at all. Brittany, hello to you.
Hi,
you mentioned
Brittany.
a great book.
Oh, yes. Lisa Turker is amazing. But go ahead. What's the name of the book?
It's called The Best Yes. Yeah, definitely right along the lines of what we're discussing. Good morning to you, Brittany. Thanks so much. So,
And then there's seasons, too.
what?
When my children were little, that was a season where, like, doing things outside of the home, I just knew it was no, 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 no. So it was easier. For example, the things we can volunteer to are different to the things somebody like Ron or my mom can volunteer to. So you also have to be mindful of overall seasons. I think it makes it easier for me to say no when I identify, okay, this is a season where I don't have time for things outside of the home.
Yeah. You know, I know some people who actually schedule things that aren't normally scheduled so that they don't have to worry about feeling pressure to say yes to everything. Like even professionally, I knew a guy who would block an hour for email every day
Right.
on his official work calendar. That would allow him to get his work done and also allow him to say, no, I'm sorry, I have an appointment.
Right.
A guy that I follow, Michael Hyatt, amazing leader, and he has said, similar to what you said, blocking out and actually scheduling personal time.
Yep.
If it's with his wife, or if it's, I think once a week, he said he would spend time with himself. He's like, if you don't schedule it, then it's easy to fill those in because it's like informal and it's not necessary.
Yeah.
But then he was like, when it's on your schedule, it's easy to say, no, that time's already, you don't have to say for what. You can say the
Right.
time's already committed.
Yeah, right. It's none of their business why you're saying no.
Right.
I have a commitment already. I'm sorry. And if they press you, it's weird.
Yeah.
You're like,
What
really?
are
You want to know
doing?
all my business? What are you doing?
Hi, John. John
What up,
saying
John?
good morning.
He's in Worcester.
Yes, Dee Dee is logging in.
Dee Dee tanks.
Oh,
Watch
yeah.
out. I
You
don't
feel
think she
special?
struggles saying no. I feel like Dee Dee is like, no.
So if you don't struggle with it, Dee Dee, or anybody else, please help us. Let us know, what do you do to put up healthy boundaries. Jennifer Jones is logged in. She
Hey,
always
Jennifer.
Good
just
morning.
logs in.
Because
Hi,
we
Jennifer.
gotta say no.
You
Like,
know,
you can't say
Jennifer,
yes to everything.
for homeschoolers or even stay-at-home moms or people that are entrepreneurs, one of the challenges I've heard, especially entrepreneurs or people that have their own business, you always look available. Like my some family members would get frustrated if I didn't make myself available either to help them with something or for a phone call because I'm home.
Right.
You know, and so it was hard to be like, no, I'm not available. Well, why? You're home. And so that's another challenge. And it's not just moms. A lot of it is people that work from home, for example. Hi, Lillian. Thank you, Brian. We don't need
You're
to
welcome.
explain why.
No, we
That's
don't.
a key.
Yeah.
That's a key.
And there's I had actually one lesson in school that opened my eyes, and this is going to connect, trust me. But remember when you're a kid and you ask your teacher if you're writing a personal essay, can I say the words I or me? And they'll always say, no, you can't. And you're like, well, I can't write this article then. There's always a way to write something without using those words, I or me.
Yeah.
There's always a way to say no without giving somebody all the information.
That sounds cold to just be like,
But they don't have a right to all the information.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have an appointment.
Yeah.
Now, would it be true that you have an appointment with your inbox? Or
Yes.
you have an appointment with your Bible? Or you have an appointment which means you need to be available at home for your children? Yes,
Yes.
that's an appointment.
right.
You don't have to say, I have a doctor's appointment with Dr. Johnson.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward, actually. I have this rash that, no, I mean, you don't. But we feel this pressing
It's true.
need to tell the entire full
justify.
truth. No, we don't have to justify it.
Beatrice says, good morning. I had to step down from Sunday school because I was saying yes all the time to others.
Yeah.
Other things, and I had no time to be with my husband or actually be present during service. Jennifer says, yes, people do not understand that I don't have 24 hours of free time. When you're home, whether you're working or just home with your kids, it does look like you're just free. And, if you don't put up boundaries, people or things
And
will
that's-
just jump on.
And see, Sarah's been good at that, even in her personal time, scheduling things on the calendar.
Right.
I'm going to vacuum at this time, or I'm going to
that's
remind Brian to do this at this time, which
Yeah.
happens all the time. But then you legitimately have an appointment on your calendar.
Right.
And nobody has a necessarily right or need to know what that is. And with church, Sarah and I have had seasons where we're busy enough with the kids where we actually take turns serving. There was a season where she was serving in the nursery at church. And whenever anyone asked me to serve, I'd say no.
Yeah.
My answer was no. Why? Because we're serving through Sarah right now.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
yes.
can't because she is. You've
Yes.
been there. When
Yeah.
you're a certain phase of life, there's just seasons where you both can't be serving all the time.
Yeah, for me, it was when I was home with the kids and they were little and I was nursing and I always had a baby. I was telling Len, like, I am not serving in the nursery. But we were putting kids in the nursery. And Len's like, well, one of us is doing it. Because if you're pulling from a ministry, he just
Yeah.
feels like you need to pour in. So he would do it. For that season, he would volunteer.
But you have to pour into the same ministry? Like,
You
do
don't
I have to
have-
volunteer in nursery because I have lots of kids?
If your gifting isn't there, you're better serving somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Do not force me to serve in the nursery. I don't want to.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But to me, it's the principle of you got to serve somewhere
Right.
if you're taking a lot.
He loves kids and he's good with kids. And I think, like you said,
So-
his
so
idea is, because his dad has been a pastor for so long, he doesn't want to be someone that just sits and just takes.
Right.
And so wherever it was, in that case for him, it was nursery. Lillian says, yes, Ron. Joe says, I have problems saying no to church, adult children, and even my job.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, no, it's hard to say no at work too, but my wife is really good at this. I haven't had to worry about it recently. Our boss is so great. Really, the world's best boss.
Best boss.
I don't think he's ever asked me to do something I wouldn't do, and I don't feel the same. Anyway, but Sarah is able to say, no, look, this is my job description. You've asked me to do these things, and if you ask me to do this, I can't do this, and I have to do this. So I'm sorry, I can't do that for you.
Right.
That's tough
Yeah.
to say to your supervisor.
I know a lot of people struggle with, you want to be the best employee you can, so you try to go above and beyond. But at what point, going above and beyond, you start working an extra half hour or hour a day, you're not getting paid for it, nobody else around you is doing it. Sure, God's pleased with your work ethic, but maybe God's going to also say, look, if they need that done, they'll pay you for it.
Yeah.
That's
exactly
one thing I recognized recently when there was a season where for church or ministries, I would say yes because I would think, well, I guess it's in the church, so they know my family's a priority. So if they're offering it, maybe I should take it. Then I was talking to a friend of mine and I realized, oh my gosh, it's my job to protect my family, not the church's job. I can't expect, if they're offering it, then they know that I can handle it. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I've just realized I'm the protector of my schedule and my priorities and my family's time.
Yeah, this was a big thing that I learned in college, actually, because there's so many groups to be involved in, and time is limited.
Yeah.
Especially when, being on my own schedule and not having anybody else kind of manipulate that time.
Yeah.
Maybe not manipulate is the right word, but for me, I can fill all my time or I can protect all my time.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I just need to know what works for you as a single individual.
Well, because if you're saying yes to the wrong things, you won't be able to say yes to the right thing.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
But even more than that, I think there is a way to abuse this in that you say no so often
Yes.
that you never do anything.
Yes.
Which is where my tendency tends to be, because I'd rather just stay home and not do anything.
So how do you know?
Are you doing something?
No,
Especially when it comes to church.
Just to do.
No, well, I think when it comes to serving in church, I think you should do something. Even if it's just, if you don't know what you should do in church, do something. We've all got to serve. I mean, the church still survives, right? Like 20% of the people do 80% of the work or whatever.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, even if it's not your favorite thing.
What if it's something that you would say, well, I don't feel like the Lord's calling, it's not using my gifts, it's not in my area. What would you tell someone that's saying that?
I would say ask someone on the pastoral staff. If you've got a big church, maybe the head pastor wouldn't know what the jobs are, but someone will. And just say, I'm interested in serving, but I want to find something that resonates with me. What kind of positions are available? And they probably would run down, well, we need teachers in these classes, we need helpers, in these classes, we'll need maybe a janitorial staff help or something. There's always things they need, and then you can see if any of them resonates with your gifting and your call.
And does everything need to resonate?
Not perfectly.
Could the Lord be calling you to serve, kind of like what you said, just because?
Sometimes stuff needs to get done, and you just do it because you love the Lord and you know the church needs help and they can't do it alone. And I'm not saying do things you hate and are way out of your gifting. But I still have had at churches, I do not like serving small children. You don't want me to serve your small children, but there have been times when it's needed and I do it.
Yeah.
Because that's part of life. I think we often will use that as an excuse to not have to serve. Well, my gifting actually is in chalk drawings.
Yeah.
And we don't have that here, so I just can't serve.
Right.
No, I'm glad you're gifted at that, but
right.
we gotta. I think at some point we gotta serve, right?
Right.
Be an usher, collect offering,
right.
Be a greeter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and perhaps reviewing our gifts too narrowly if we don't think there's anywhere to serve in church, right?
Right. But in the spirit of the discussion, in terms of knowing when to say no, the challenge for me would be remember that the priorities is God, your family, and then the church. Because we've seen a lot of dysfunctions. People feel, like not knowing when and how to say no to the church and putting church and ministry in front of our children. And first of all, our husbands and our kids.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of times we need to say no before we say yeah. Like you become a hero outside of your home. Like we're so busy on like serving and so.
Do you want to have the last word, Janelle?
No. Go ahead.
Nice job.
I'm learning. I learned.
Well played, Janelle.
The conversation continues. Let us know how you've learned and struggled with saying no or learned to say no. And come back tomorrow, 9:05.
I'm going to turn it off. Whoa. Kelly's going to turn it off.
I'm going to turn it off.
Look at Jose. He's in California. Yeah.
Oh,